Dawson Yeager, physical therapist with Active Body Physical Therapy here in Southern California, and you're watching Active Body PT TV. Today we're going to talk about shoulder pain and rotator cuff pain. Rotator cuff pain is probably the most common cause of shoulder pain. There are a number of causes of shoulder pain, of course, but rotator cuff and impingement is probably the most common cause that we see here in physical therapy for patients with shoulder pain. So real quick, a little bit of anatomy. Your shoulder is made up of your humerus here, which is your upper arm bone right here, your scapula, which is your shoulder blade here on the back, and then your clavicle, which attaches here from your sternum over to this little bony prominence, which is called your acromion. So there's three main bones there. Your rotator cuff is a group of four muscles, and those four muscles all attach somewhere here on your shoulder blade or your scapula, and also on the humerus. So usually the problem lies with what we call your subacromial space. It's a small space right under here. It's really that bony tip of your shoulder. If you run your fingers from the end of your collarbone out towards the end where it drops off a bony cliff, that's your acromion, or we call it your AC joint where the clavicle meets your acromion. So underneath there, you have your subacromial space. It's a little space that there's one of your main cuff tendons run through, like where this pen is. So it's coming out from that space down here. There's also what we call a bursa in there, and that bursa prevents that tendon from rubbing against a bone. So it's kind of like if a rock and a rope were rubbing together. If the rope is going back and forth, what's going to happen? It's going to get frayed. You keep doing that, it's going to break in two pieces, and that would be what a rotator cuff full thickness tear typically is. So it can start with just pain and inflammation, and it can progress to a partial rotator cuff tear, or even worse, to a full thickness rotator cuff tear. So if you're having shoulder pain, don't ignore it. A couple things you can do. Posture is a big factor. So what happens is, if you stand like this with your shoulders kind of slouched forward like this, you can see here, my thumbs kind of point in down here. So if you're looking at my thumbs, if I pull my shoulders back like that, my thumbs now point forward. So down, I'm slouchy posture, back, upright posture, shoulders back, my thumbs get forward. That slouchy posture closes down this space, so that pinches on that tendon and that bursa and can cause bursitis, rotator cuff impingement, rotator cuff tendonitis, whatever label you want to put on it. That's typically what's happening. So we really want to work on our posture. So the first thing we want to do is what we call as a SCAP squeeze. And we're going to just stand up, pull our shoulders back, and squeeze like this. I'm going to do it backwards too. So we're squeezing like this, squeezing back, and do that about 10 times. Now, if that's easy, you can add a band, maybe like this, and do a SCAP squeeze like that with a little bit of resistance. So you want to get those shoulder blades back. That's the whole key, all right? So SCAP squeezes. Let's see, open up that space there. The second thing you can do is a chest stretch or a pec stretch. So you want to keep these muscles in front loose so they're not pulling you forward, collapsing in, and crunching down on that subacromial space. So I like the doorway stretch, and I like to do it two different ways. So picture there's a doorway here. We might put our hands down like this and just stretch in. Hold that for about a 30-second count. And do a couple of those. Some people like to do it one-handed, and that's fine too. That you can isolate maybe a little bit more. I do both at the same time. And then maybe another one with the arms up a little bit. I don't really recommend you get your elbows above your shoulder. So, horizontal here or just below probably works best for most people. And stepping in, stretching those pecs, those chest muscles, and getting those shoulder blades back. 30 seconds on that doorway chest stretch. Then a couple strengthening exercises you can start on. I'll show you here. Are do this, and I'm going to get up on this table, and I call them T's, Y's, and reverse Y's. So we want to work the muscles on the back and the shoulder blades that stabilize and support your shoulder blades. So Y's are up here, and you want to squeeze those, hold it for a couple seconds, and back. If you can do that, again, some people, once they get up above a horizontal plane, it's a little much, so if you need to start with T's, just start with T's. So you're squeezing, squeezing, maybe do a set of 10, and then reverse Y's are with the hands down to the side. So this way, all right? 1, 2, 3, down. Maybe a set of 10 of each of those. If that's simple and easy, you can add a little weight in your hand, a couple pounds. You don't want to get 10, 15, 20 pounds, but a little bit of weight. Another way to do it is if you have a Swiss ball, you can do them on a Swiss ball. So you kind of go into a plank, and you can do your Y's here, your T's, and your reverse Y's with a little bit of weight, a couple sets of 10, and those work real well. One other exercise that usually works real well is what we call external rotation. And you would, so if this is the side that's hurting, your right side, you'd put a towel roll in here just to keep you in the right position. And you could hook a TheraBand or a rubber band, like a sport cord, onto the doorway or onto the wall, but I'm gonna just hold it here myself to show you. So, and you're gonna do this, pull out and pull out. So you're not extending your elbow like that. You're just, what I call is kind of wiping the tabletop and keeping that elbow bent out. That typically is a really weak motion on most people. And that's one of your main rotator cuff motions. So a lot of times that helps. I wouldn't overdo this, a couple sets of 10 to start, and then go from there. So that's a good starting point. There's definitely more. If you continue to have shoulder pain, rotator cuff pain, and impingement, talk to your local physical therapist. Thanks for watching. If you like the video, make sure you hit subscribe or leave a comment below. And remember, we at Active Body Physical Therapy want to be the terminators of your pain. Thanks for watching.